My dear Heisenberg.
My dear Bohr.
Come in, come in.
As soon as they catch sight of each other, all their caution disappears. The old flames leap up from the ashes. Now if we can just negotiate a treacherous little open civilians.
I'm so touched you felt able to ask me.
Well, we must try to go on behaving like human beings.
I realize how awkward it is.
Well, we scarcely had the chance to do more than shake hands at lunch the other day,
Margaret I haven't seen.
since you were here 4 years ago.
Niels is right, you look older.
I've been hoping to see you both at the Congress at Warsaw in 1938.
I believe you had some personal trouble.
A little business in Berlin.
In the Prince Albert Strasse.
A slight misunderstanding.
Yes, we heard. I'm sorry.
These things happen. The question's now resolved. Happily resolved. We should all have met in Zurich.
In September 1939.
And of course, sadly.
Sadly for us as well.
A lot more, sadly, still for many people.
Yes, indeed.
Well, there it is.
What can I say?
What can any of us say under the present circumstances?
No, and your sons?
Are well, thank you. And Elizabeth and the children.
Very well. They send their love, of course.
They so much wanted to see each other in spite of everything. But now the moment's arrived, they're so busy avoiding each other's gaze, they can scarcely see each other at all.
I hope you realize how much it means to me. To be back here in Copenhagen, in this house. I've become rather isolated in the last few years.
I can imagine.
Me, he scarcely notices. I watch him from behind my expression of polite interest as he struggles on.
Have things here been difficult?
Difficult.
He has to ask. He has to get it out of the way.
Difficult? What can I say? We haven't been treated to the gross abuses that have occurred elsewhere. The race laws have not been enforced.
Yet.
A few months ago, they started deporting communists and other anti-German elements.
But you personally?
Have been left strictly alone.
I've been anxious about you.
Kind of you. No call for sleepless nights in Leipzig, though?
Silence. He's done his duty. Now he can begin to steer the conversation round to pleasanter subjects.
Are you still sailing?
Sailing?
Not a good start.
No. No sailing.
The sound is...
Mine.
Of course.
I assume he won't ask if Niels has been skiing.
You've managed to get some skiing.
Skiing. In Denmark.
In Norway. You used to go to Norway.
Yes, I did.
But since Norway is also, well...
Also occupied? Yes, well, that might make it easy. In fact, I suppose we could now holiday almost anywhere in Europe.
I'm sorry, I hadn't quite thought of it in those terms.
Perhaps I'm being a little oversensitive.
No, I should have thought.
He must be beginning to wish he was back in the Prince Albert Strasse.
I don't suppose you feel you could ever come to Germany?
The boy's an idiot!
My dear Heisenberg, it would be an easy mistake to make. To think that the citizens of a small nation overrun, cruelly and wantonly overrun, don't have the exact same feelings of national pride as their conquerors. The exact same love for their country.
Niels, we agreed.
Talk about physics.
Not about politics.
I'm sorry.
I was simply going to say that I still have my old ski hut at Byron's, though. So if by any chance, at any time, for any reason...
Perhaps Margaret would be kind enough to sew a yellow star on my ski jacket.
Yes, stupid.
Another silence. Those first brief sparks have faded, and the ashes have become very cold indeed. And now, of course, I'm almost beginning to feel sorry for him. Sitting here all on his own amidst people who hate him. All on his own against the two of us. He looks younger again. Like the boy who first came here in 1924. Younger than Christian would have been now. Shy and arrogant and anxious to be loved. Homesick and pleased to be away from home at last. And yes, it's sad, because Niels loved him. He was a father to him.
So, what are you working on?
And all he can do is press forward.
Fission, mostly.
I saw a couple of papers in the physical review. The velocity range relations of fission fragments.
And the interaction of nuclei and deuterons, yes.
Various things.
Fission?
You know, I've become very envious of your cyclotron.
Why? Are you working on fission yourself?
There are over 30 in the United States, whereas in the whole of Germany, huh? You still get to your country place at any rate?
We still go to Tisville, yes.
In the whole of Germany, you were going to say.
There is not one single cyclotron.
So beautiful this time of year, Tisville.
You haven't come to borrow my cyclotron. That's not why you've come to Copenhagen.
That's not why I've come to Copenhagen.
I'm sorry, we mustn't jump to conclusions.
No, I must none of us jump to conclusions of any sort.
We must wait patiently to be told.
It's often very difficult to explain things to the world at large.
We must always be conscious of the wider audience our words may have, but the lack of cyclotrons in Germany is surely no military secret.
I have no idea what's a secret and what isn't.
No secret either is why there aren't any. You can't say it, but I can. It's because the Nazis have systematically undermined theoretical physics. And why? Because so many of the people working in the field were Jews. Why were so many of them Jews? Because theoretical physics, the sort of physics done by Einstein, by Schrödinger and Pauli, by Bohr and Sommerfeld, by you and me, was always regarded in Germany as inferior to experimental physics. And the theoretical chairs and lectureships were the only ones that Jews could get.
Physics, yes?
This is physics.
It's also politics.
The two are sometimes painfully difficult to keep apart.
So, you saw those two papers. I haven't seen anything by you recently.
No.
It's not like you. Too much teaching?
I'm not teaching, not at the moment.
They haven't pushed you out of your chair at Leipzig. That's not what you've come to tell us.
No, I'm still at Leipzig. For part of the week.
And for the rest of the week?
Elsewhere, the problem is more work, not less.
I see. Do I?
Are you in touch with any of our friends in England? Bourne, Chadwick?
Heisenberg, we're under German occupation. Germany is at war with Britain.
Yes, but you must still have context of some sort. What about people in America? We're not at war with America.
Yet.
You've heard nothing from Pauli at Princeton. Gauchschmidt, Fermi?
What do you want to know?
I was simply curious. I was thinking about Robert Oppenheimer the other day. I had a great set with him in Chicago in 1939.
About Nissan.
Is he still working on designs?
I'm quite out of touch.
The only foreign visitor we've had was from Germany. Your friend Weizsäcker was here in March.
My friend? Your friend too, I hope. You know he's come back to Copenhagen with me. He's very much hoping to see you both.
When he was here in March, he brought the head of the German Cultural Institute with him.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. He did it with the best of intentions. He may not have explained it to you then, but the Institute is run by the Cultural Division of the Foreign Office. We have good friends in the Foreign Office, especially at the embassy here.
Of course. I knew his father when he was ambassador to Copenhagen in the 20s.
It hasn't changed so much since then, you know, the German Foreign Office.
It's a department of the Nazi government.
Germany is more complex than it may appear from the outside. The different organs of state have quite different traditions, in spite of all attempts at reform, especially the Foreign Office. Our people at the embassy here are quite old-fashioned in the way they use their influence. They would certainly be trying to see that distinguished local citizens were able to work undisturbed.
Are you telling me that I'm being protected by your friends at the embassy?
What I'm saying is, in case Weizsäcker failed to make it clear, is you would find congenial company there. People would be very honored if you could accept an occasional invitation.
To cocktail parties at the German embassy? To coffee and cakes with the Nazi plenipotentiary?
To lectures, perhaps. To discussion groups. Social contacts of any sort could be helpful.
I'm sure they could.
Essential, perhaps, in certain circumstances.
In what
I
circumstances?
think we both know.
Because I'm half Jewish?
We may at one time or another need the help of our friends.
My dear Heisenberg, is this why you've come to Copenhagen? To invite me to watch the deportation of my fellow Danes from a grandstand view from the windows of the German embassy?
Bohr, please! Please! What else can I do? How else can I help? It's an impossibly difficult situation for you. I understand that. It's also an impossibly difficult one for me.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Forget about what I said,
Unless I need to remember it.
in any case, it's not why I come.
Perhaps you should just say what it is you came here to say.
What you and I often used to do in the old days was to take an evening stroll.
Often. Yes, in the old days.
You don't feel like a stroll this evening, for old time's sake.
It's a little chilly tonight for strolling.
This is so difficult. Do you remember where we first met?
Of course. Göttingen, 1922.
At a lecture festival held in your honor.
Yes, it was a high honor. I was very aware of it.
You were being honored for two reasons. Firstly, because you were a great physicist.
Yes.
And secondly, because you were one of the few people in Europe who were prepared to have dealings with Germany. The war had been over for 4 years and we were still lepers. But you held out your hand to us. You've always inspired love, you know that. Wherever you've been, wherever you've worked. Here in Denmark, in England, in America. But in Germany, we worshipped you. Because you held out your hand to us.
Germany's changed.
Yes, then we were down and you could be generous.
And now you're up.
And generosity's harder. But you held out your hand to us then and we took it.
Yes. No. Not you. As a matter of fact, you bit it.
Bit it.
Yes, you did. You bit my hand. I held my hand out in my most statesmanlike and reconciliatory way, and you gave it a very nasty nip.
I did.
Yes, the very first time I laid eyes on you at one of those lectures I was giving in Göttingen.
What are you talking about?
You stood up and laid into me.
Oh, I offered a few comments.
Beautiful summer's day. The scent of roses drifting in from the gardens. Rows of eminent physicists and mathematicians, all nodding their approval at my benevolence and wisdom. Suddenly, up jumps this cheeky young pup and tells me that my mathematics are wrong.
They were wrong!
How old were you?
20.
2 years younger than the century?
Not quite.
December 5th, yes?
1.93 years younger than the century.
To be precise.
No, to 2 places of decimals to be precise. 1.9287671.
I can still keep track of you all the same. And the century.
And Niels has suddenly decided to love you again. Why? Was it the recollection of that summer's day in Göttingen? Or everything, or nothing at all? Either way, by the time we've sat down to dinner, those cold ashes have once more started